On a distant planet, where the sky shimmered with colors not found on Earth, there stood a grand military academy. This place was known for training the best warriors among the alien species. The academy was surrounded by rocky mountains and strange forests, where many dangerous creatures lived. The students here, called cadets, were serious and focused, ready to learn how to fight and defend their world. One day, a new arrival caught everyone's attention. Tarek, a human from Earth, walked through the academy gates. He was a Deathworlder, someone who grew up in a place filled with danger and fierce animals. The alien cadets had heard stories about humans, but seeing one in person was different. Zira, a bright-eyed cadet with a strong desire to be the best, whispered to her friends, "Do you really think he can keep up with us?" Commander Rax, the stern instructor, gathered all the cadets for an important announcement. "Today we have a special guest. Tarek will join us for our training," he said, his voice booming. The cadets exchanged glances, curiosity mixed with doubt. How could a human survive in their intense training environment without the same technology or skills? As Tarek stood before them, he smiled confidently. "I'm here to learn from all of you and show what humans can do." The cadets were skeptical, but a spark of excitement flickered in the air. Little did they know, their understanding of strength and resilience was about to change forever. The next day, the academy buzzed with anticipation. Alien cadets whispered among themselves as they prepared for their first training session with Tarek. Many of them wore heavy armor, designed to protect them from the dangers they would face in combat drills. Zira tightened her helmet, her heart racing. She wondered how a human would handle their intense training. When Tarek entered the training arena, he was different from the cadets. He wore no armor at all, just a simple outfit that looked lightweight and flexible. The other cadets couldn't believe their eyes. "Does he really think he can keep up with us like that?" One of them sneered. Zira felt a mix of curiosity and doubt as she watched Tarek stretch and prepare. Commander Rax shouted, "Today we will begin our combat drills. Remember, these exercises are designed to test your skills and teamwork. We'll see how you handle pressure." He looked over at Tarek. "Let's see how our guest fares without any protection." As the drill started, the cadets fought with all their might, using their training to try to outshine one another. Zira pushed herself, focusing on speed and precision. She stole glances at Tarek, who moved effortlessly through the exercises. He dodged, rolled, and struck with skill, making it look almost easy. The cadets couldn't believe what they were seeing. Tarek was agile, adapting to each challenge. Maybe he isn't just an ordinary human, Zira thought. Slowly, doubts began to fade, replaced by intrigue. Could this Deathworlder actually teach them something new? The thought lingered in the air as the training continued, and the cadets began to wonder what they could learn from him. As the training session progressed, Tarek's skill became undeniable. He moved with an agility that was impressive even to the most experienced cadets. Each time he sparred with one of them, he demonstrated his ability to think quickly and adapt to their fighting styles. The alien cadets exchanged glances, their initial skepticism melting away. Maybe he really can handle himself, Zira admitted to herself. After the first hour, Commander Rax noticed the growing respect among his cadets. He decided to introduce a challenge to test Tarek further. "Now, we will have a team drill. Each of you will work together to take down our guest. Remember, use your training and skills." The cadets were excited. Tarek was outnumbered, and they believed they would easily defeat him. They quickly formed their strategy, their confidence soaring. Zira felt a thrill of anticipation. "This will be fun," she thought. "We'll show him how serious our training is." The challenge began, and the cadets charged at Tarek in waves. They worked as a team, trying to surround him. Tarek remained calm, using his agility to dodge their attacks. He quickly learned to anticipate their moves, weaving through the group with surprising ease. One by one, the cadets found themselves frustrated as Tarek evaded them, showcasing his resilience and speed. Zira watched closely, feeling a mix of admiration and competitive spirit. He's not just lucky, he's skilled, she realized. But Tarek's endurance was tested as the cadets kept coming. With every move, he seemed to learn more about their tactics, adapting his own strategies in response. After a particularly close encounter, where Tarek narrowly escaped a group attack, the cadets began to feel the strain. "We need to work together better," Zira shouted, encouraging her teammates. They formed a tighter formation, planning to corner him and catch him off guard. But just when they thought they had him, Tarek executed a surprising maneuver. He jumped over the nearest cadet, rolling onto the ground behind them. It was a move no one had expected, and before they could react, he quickly turned and tagged two of them. The training ground erupted in cheers and laughter as the cadets realized how challenging the exercise had become. Tarek had proven himself to be a worthy opponent. As the drill ended, Commander Rax stepped forward, nodding in approval. "You all showed great teamwork today, but our guest has shown us that there's always more to learn. Tarek, you did well." The cadets cheered for Tarek, and Zira felt a sense of respect growing within her. She knew that this human had something special to offer, and she was eager to see what other surprises he had in store. As they gathered around Tarek, Zira felt a sense of camaraderie developing. Maybe working together won't be so bad after all, she thought. The air buzzed with excitement, and the cadets were eager for their next challenge with Tarek, who had already begun to change their perceptions of humanity. The next day, the sun rose over the academy, casting vibrant colors across the alien landscape. The cadets gathered in the training arena, still buzzing with excitement from their last encounter with Tarek. Zira felt a newfound sense of anticipation. She had never expected to learn so much from a human, and she was eager for what lay ahead. Commander Rax approached the group, his expression serious. "Today, we will focus on building bonds of trust and teamwork. Tarek will join us for a new exercise, one that emphasizes communication and collaboration. You will need to rely on each other to succeed." The cadets nodded, their minds already racing with ideas. As the training began, Tarek was put in a leadership position. "All right, everyone," he said, his voice steady. "Let's start by forming smaller teams. Each team will work together to navigate a series of challenges that require strategy and cooperation. Remember, I'm here to help, so don't hesitate to ask." The cadets formed their teams, and Zira found herself alongside Tarek and a few other cadets. She was nervous but excited. "What if we fail?" she thought. But Tarek smiled at her, sensing her apprehension. "Just trust each other, and we'll figure it out together," he encouraged. As they approached the first challenge, a massive obstacle course filled with pitfalls and barriers, Zira took a deep breath. "Okay, what's our plan?" she asked. Trying to sound confident, Tarek pointed to the first barrier. "I'll climb over it and help pull you up. Zira, you should be the lookout and guide us through." With their roles established, they began to tackle the course. Tarek moved quickly, scaling the barrier with ease. Zira watched him, amazed at how effortlessly he moved. Once he was over, he reached down to help the others. Zira guided them through the twists and turns, using her knowledge of the course from previous training. As they progressed, they encountered challenges that tested their skills and resolve. They had to work together to solve puzzles and navigate tricky terrains. There were moments of frustration, but with Tarek's calm demeanor and Zira's encouragement, they pushed through. The more they collaborated, the stronger their bond became. Finally, they'd reached the last challenge, a wide chasm that seemed impossible to cross. Zira felt her heart race. "How will we get over this?" she asked, looking at Tarek. He took a moment to assess the situation, then smiled. "We can create a makeshift bridge. If we use those fallen branches and work together, we can make it across." The team quickly gathered the branches, and with Tarek's guidance, they built a sturdy enough bridge to cross. As Zira stepped onto the makeshift bridge, She felt a wave of pride. They were doing this together, relying on each other's strengths. Once they crossed safely, the team erupted in cheers, celebrating their success. Zira looked at Tarek, who grinned back at her. "We did it. I can't believe we actually worked together like that," she said, her voice filled with excitement. Commander Rax approached, nodding in approval. "Well done, everyone. You have proven that trust and teamwork are essential, no matter where you come from." The cadets beamed with pride, feeling a sense of accomplishment. As they wrapped up for the day, Zira realized how much she had learned from Tarek. He had not only shown them new ways to tackle challenges, but had also brought them closer as a team. "I can't wait to see what tomorrow brings," she thought, already eager for the next training session. Little did she know, this journey would continue to reshape their understanding of strength, resilience, and what it truly meant to be a team. "You said." The sun rose brightly over the academy, and the atmosphere buzzed with anticipation. Today's training was different. Commander Rax announced that they would face their fears, an essential part of their growth as warriors. Zira felt a mix of excitement and anxiety. She had heard stories of the fear-inducing exercise, but had never participated in one herself. "Today, we will face what scares us most," Commander Rax explained. "Each of you will enter a simulation room where your fears will manifest. You must confront them to overcome them. Tarek will assist you in this challenge, helping you see that fear can be conquered." As the cadets filed into the simulation chamber, Zira felt her heart race. "What if I can't handle it?" she thought, but Tarek placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "You're stronger than you think, Zira. Just remember that I'm here with you," he said, his voice steady. The cadets entered their individual rooms one by one. Zira watched as her friends faced various challenges. Some fought terrifying creatures, while others faced scenarios that made their hearts race. She felt a surge of fear as her turn approached. What would her simulation reveal? When it was finally her turn, Zira stepped into the dark room, the door sealing behind her. The walls pulsed with a low hum, and she felt a chill run down her spine. Suddenly, the scene shifted, and she found herself standing at the edge of a vast abyss. Dark clouds swirled above, and the wind howled menacingly. She was terrified of heights, and this was her worst nightmare. Zira could feel panic rising within her. She closed her eyes, trying to steady her breath. "I can't do this," she thought. But just then, she remembered Tarek's words. "You're stronger than you think." She opened her eyes, determined to face her fear. Gathering her courage, Zira took a step forward. The ground shook beneath her feet, and she felt her heart pound in her chest. "I need to believe in myself," she told herself. She moved slowly, focusing on her breathing. With each step, the ground steadied, and the abyss seemed less intimidating. Just when she thought she could turn back, she heard Tarek's voice in her mind. "Trust yourself." Drawing on that strength, Zira took another step, then another. As she neared the edge, a brilliant light filled the abyss, revealing the beautiful world below. It wasn't a bottomless pit, but a vibrant landscape waiting for her to explore. Zira stood at the edge, feeling a sense of accomplishment wash over her. She had faced her fear and realized it was not as terrifying as she had imagined. The simulation room began to fade, and Zira found herself back in the training chamber, where Commander Rax and the other cadets were waiting. "You did it, Zira." Tarek cheered, his eyes sparkling with pride. "I knew you could." The other cadets clapped and cheered, and Zira felt a rush of joy. She had conquered her fear, and it felt incredible. As they prepared for the next cadet, Zira noticed a change in her friends. Each one emerged from their simulations with newfound confidence, having faced their own fears. They shared stories of their experiences, and laughter filled the room. Zira glanced at Tarek, who was now chatting animatedly with a group of cadets. She realized how much they had all grown together. They were no longer just strangers from different worlds. They were a team, united by their shared experiences. That evening, As they gathered around a fire to share stories, Zira felt a warmth in her heart. They had faced their fears and emerged stronger, and she was grateful for Tarek's encouragement. As the stars twinkled overhead, Zira looked forward to what challenges awaited them next. Little did they know that the bonds they were forming would be put to the ultimate test soon. As the days turned into weeks at the academy, Zira and her friends grew closer, sharing laughter and training together. The cadets began to feel like family. However, the atmosphere shifted one afternoon when Commander Rax called an unexpected meeting. Concern etched across his face. He stood before the assembled cadets, and the usual camaraderie was replaced with a palpable tension. "Cadets," he began, his voice grave, "I have received troubling news. Our scouting missions have detected an approaching fleet of unknown vessels. They appear to be hostile, and their intent is unclear. We must be prepared for a potential conflict." A murmur spread through the crowd. Zira exchanged worried glances with Tarek. The academy was supposed to be a safe place for training, but now it felt like they were on the brink of war. Zira could see fear creeping into the eyes of some cadets, but she reminded herself of their recent victory over their fears. Commander Rax continued, "We need to sharpen our skills and devise strategies. You will all participate in advanced combat drills, focusing on teamwork. We will stand united against whatever threat approaches." As the cadets prepared for the drills, Zira felt a mix of anxiety and determination. She gathered her friends, Tarek, Kira, and Zil, to discuss their strategy. "We've trained hard, but now we need to think like a team," Zira suggested. "Let's combine our strengths and support each other." Kira nodded, her expression serious. "I can use my speed to scout ahead and relay information," she said. "Zil can create distractions with his illusions, and Tarek, you can lead the front lines. Zira, your strength will be key in close combat." Tarek smiled, feeling the energy of their camaraderie. "And we'll be there for each other, no matter what. We've faced our fears. We can face this threat together." With a renewed sense of purpose, the team dove into their training. They practiced their drills relentlessly, refining their skills and learning to trust one another. Zira felt the bond between them strengthen with each passing day. As the training continued, the news of the approaching fleet weighed heavily on their minds. They trained hard, honing their abilities, but the sense of impending danger loomed over them. Zira found herself staying up late, going over strategies in her mind. What if they weren't ready? What if they failed? One night, as Zira sat alone in her quarters, she heard a soft knock on her door. It was Tarek. "Mind if I join you?" he asked. Zira nodded, grateful for his presence. They talked about their fears and the upcoming conflict. Tarek shared stories of his past battles, each tale laced with lessons learned. "I know it's scary," he said, "but remember what we've accomplished. We faced our fears in the simulations, and now we must do the same here. We have each other, and together, we're strong." Zira felt comforted by Tarek's words. "You're right. We can do this together," she replied, her confidence growing. The next day, the atmosphere at the academy shifted again. Reports came in that the unknown fleet was now just hours away from their location. The cadets gathered in the training hall, ready to hear Commander Rax's plan. "Listen closely," he began, his voice steady. "The enemy may be powerful, but we are not alone. We have trained for this moment. Each of you has proven your worth. Remember, the strength of our teamwork will be our greatest weapon." As they moved to their battle stations, Zira felt a surge of adrenaline. She looked at her friends, each one filled with determination. They had trained hard, and now it was time to put that training to the test. The time for fear was over. They would face this threat head-on. As they took their positions, Zira couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. The tension in the air was thick, and she knew the battle ahead would be fierce, but she also felt a sense of pride in her team. They were no longer just cadets. They were warriors, ready to defend their home and each other against the unknown threat that loomed on the horizon. With hearts pounding and minds focused, they awaited the arrival of the enemy fleet, knowing they would fight not just for their academy, but for the bonds they had formed along the way. They were ready to face whatever came next, united as one. You said. The atmosphere around the academy was charged with anticipation as the unknown fleet drew closer. Zira and her friends stood shoulder to shoulder with their fellow cadets, hearts racing with adrenaline and fear. Commander Rax stood before them, a pillar of strength amidst the chaos. "Cadets, today you will show the galaxy what you are made of," he declared. "Remember your training. Trust in your abilities, and most importantly, trust in each other. Our greatest weapon is our unity." As the distant hum of engines grew louder, the first ships of the enemy fleet emerged on the horizon. Zira squinted into the sky, trying to discern the shapes of the vessels against the bright sun. They were massive and imposing, casting shadows over the academy. "Stay focused," Tarek shouted, rallying their group. "We can do this." Zira felt the strength of their bond course through her. They had trained hard, and now it was time to put that training to the ultimate test. The enemy ships began to descend, and Zira could see alien figures on the decks, their silhouettes stark against the metallic hulls. "Positions," Commander Rax commanded, and the cadets moved into formation, ready to defend their academy. The first shots rang out like thunder, bright beams of energy slicing through the air. Zira ducked instinctively as she heard the crackling of energy blasts. The enemy was attacking. She glanced at Tarek, who was already barking orders to their team. "Zira, Kira, take the left flank," he shouted. "Zil, stay behind us and create distractions with your illusions." Without hesitation, Zira and Kira sprinted to the left, their feet pounding against the ground. Zira felt her muscles tense as she prepared for combat, adrenaline flooding her veins. They reached a vantage point behind a cluster of rocks, where they could see the enemy moving in. Zira took a deep breath, reminding herself of their training. "Ready?" Kira asked, her voice steady despite the chaos. "Always," Zira replied, a fierce determination burning in her chest. The enemy was advancing, their soldiers leaping from their ships and charging towards the academy. Zira felt the ground tremble beneath her as they approached. The sight of them sent a chill down her spine, but she pushed the fear away. They were not alone. Her friends were by her side. As the first wave of enemies neared, Zira and Kira sprang into action. Zira charged forward, her fists clenched, ready to unleash her strength. Kira darted around, using her speed to confuse and evade the enemy. Zira's first punch landed squarely on an alien soldier, sending it sprawling backward. "Good job," Kira shouted, keeping her own momentum going. Zira could see Tarek in the distance, rallying their teammates, encouraging them to push back against the enemy. The camaraderie among the cadets was palpable, each one fighting for the other. It wasn't just a battle, it was a demonstration of their unity. Suddenly, Zil appeared beside them, his hands moving swiftly as he created an illusion of multiple Ziras. The enemy was confused, firing in different directions as they tried to pinpoint the real threat. "Now," Zira yelled, charging forward. She weaved through the enemy ranks, delivering blows and ducking out of the way just in time. With each strike, she felt more empowered, fueled by the trust she had in her friends. As the battle raged on, Zira caught glimpses of Kira using her agility to dodge enemy attacks, while Zil created distractions to keep their opponents off balance. Tarek led their fellow cadets with precision, guiding them in a strategic counterattack that slowly began to push the enemy back. "Keep pushing," Tarek shouted, his voice rising above the chaos. "We can do this." Zira's heart soared as she felt the tide of battle shifting. The enemy was faltering, unsure against the relentless assault of the human cadets. The feeling of unity surged through them, transforming fear into power. They were fighting not just for their lives, but for the bonds they had forged through shared experiences and struggles. Suddenly, a larger enemy ship began to hover above them, its cannons primed and ready. Zira's breath caught in her throat as she realized the danger they faced. "Tarek, we need to take that ship down," she yelled, determination sparking in her eyes. Tarek nodded, his expression fierce. "We'll need everyone. Gather everyone and focus fire on that ship." With newfound resolve, the cadets regrouped, forming the united front. Zira felt a rush of adrenaline as they prepared for one final assault. She raised her fist, rallying her friends. "On my count. 1, 2, 3. Together, they unleashed a barrage of energy blasts toward the hovering ship, a wave of determination surging through their ranks. The blast struck the ship, lighting it up in brilliant explosions. The enemy vessel shuddered and began to falter. "Keep going," Kira urged, her voice filled with excitement. With one last concentrated effort, Zira led the charge. The ship exploded in a dazzling display of lights and debris, sending shockwaves through the battlefield. Cheers erupted among the cadets as they watched the remnants of the ship fall from the sky. "We did it," Zira exclaimed, her heart racing with joy and relief. As the dust settled, the enemy forces began to retreat, realizing they were no match for the united front of the human cadets. Zira felt a sense of victory wash over her, knowing they had proven themselves. They were no longer just cadets. They were warriors, standing together against overwhelming odds. Commander Rax approached them, pride shining in his eyes. "You have shown remarkable strength and unity today. Remember this moment. Together, you are unstoppable." Zira and her friends exchanged proud smiles, the bonds they had forged in battle stronger than ever. They had faced danger and emerged victorious, proving not just their capabilities, but also the power of friendship and teamwork. As they stood together, the sun setting in the background, Zira realized that this was only the beginning of their journey. They would face many challenges ahead, but with each other by their side, they could conquer anything. Together, they were a force to be reckoned with, and nothing could break their spirit.